Many families in the U.S. struggle to find affordable, quality child care. But there's one group that has access to what some say is the gold standard of child care for Americans. That is, families in the military. Tonight, special correspondent Cat Wise and producer Kate McMahon take a look at the military's child care system and why it seems to work so well. It's part of our series, Raising the Future, America's Child Care Dilemma.
It was a big day at Fort Belvoir last month. Dozens of military families gathered to celebrate 4- and 5-year-olds graduating from preschool and heading off to kindergarten in the fall. Fort Belvoir is an Army base just outside D.C. in Fairfax, Virginia. About 10,000 service members and civilians live and work at the fort. Many of them are parents who need child care in order to do their jobs. For the U.S. military, child care is not just a family issue. It's a matter of national security.
We have to take care of our families, and that means child care.
Colonel Joshua Seagraves is the garrison commander at Fort Belvoir. He says the military's child care system is mission critical.
So when you think about readiness, child care provides a key facet of that readiness and how we take care of our soldiers, but also maintain our readiness to deploy worldwide at any given moment. I think without that, we would be significantly degraded in our ability to accomplish those missions.
As Congress contemplates a new role for the federal government in American child care, many experts say they should look to the military system, which has been called a model for the nation.
I don't think you can find much better than the military child care system.
Based at the Pentagon, Patty Barron oversees military child care policy. She says she's seen a need for quality child care throughout her life. A military spouse and mother of 3, she came to the U.S. from El Salvador as a child and says her mom struggled to find child care.
She had to go to work every single day. What she went through to find child care for us was crazy. So much so that at the age of 10, I was the one that was taking care of my brother and sister. And so for me, it's very personal.
The federal government spends just over $1 billion a year on the military's child care system, which serves about 160,000 children from birth through 12 years of age. Care is offered in a variety of settings, centers and homes on base, and also off base at approved providers.
What'd you have?
It's not free. Parents pay a sliding fee based on their total family income. Since the 1970s, the number of servicemen and women with families has grown, and so has the need for more child care. But in the early days, that care was not always what it should have been, according to Barron.
There was no training, there was no developmentally appropriate training for the providers. But there are also some ugly things going on.
Poor conditions and cases of neglect and even abuse prompted sweeping reforms on Capitol Hill. In 1989, Congress passed the Military Child Care Act. The overhaul required the military to provide high-quality, affordable care for service members and for child care teachers to earn fair wages. For the past 3 decades, Congress has supported funding for the military's child care system to meet the needs of service members and their families. But outside the gates of Fort Belvoir and military installations around the country, the child care landscape looks very different for the rest of America's families. Army specialist Deja Lyles has experienced those differences.
I pay like a little over $400 a month, which isn't bad at all because in the civilian world, I was paying almost $300 a week for childcare.
She's the mother of 5-year-old Paris. She now uses Fort Belvoir's childcare, but Paris started out in civilian care.
I can see her education has changed because she's way more advanced now than she was prior to, like when she was in the civilian daycare.
In the military, parents pay between about $2,500 to $8,300 a year per child, regardless of age. The government covers the rest. In the civilian world, center-based infant care ranges from about $9,400 to more than $17,000 a year. And in the military, salaries for child care providers typically start around $28,000 and can go as high as $45,000. They also get benefits. Civilian child care providers earn, on average, about $24,000 a year, often without benefits.
Welcome to Joan Blanc's Child Development Center.
I visited some of Fort Belvoir's 5 home-based family care providers and 7 child development centers, including one of the Army's largest. Leo Duran is the director of the Joanne Blank Center, which serves more than 280 children, ranging in age from 6 weeks to 5 years.
We have a diverse staff in here, which I love. It is very important because we also have very diverse families. And when we have teachers who can actually make that family more comforting to them when they know that we speak the language.
Teachers follow approved curricula, and there are unannounced inspections several times a year.
What was your favorite thing to do today? Did you go outside and play?
Janet Evans is the Chief of Child and Youth Services at Fort Belvoir.
They are teachers, they're not babysitters. We develop individual training plans for them.
Let's get all the paint off.
We have staff that come in brand new with a teaching degree, and they would still have to have this same training with the Department of Defense, with the Army, for those meeting those training components on how we do it here, to define that quality.
Good job, Claire. We do continuous education, training, nonstop.
Tammy McGruder has been a lead teacher at Fort Belvoir for 19 years. She says in addition to sharpening her professional skills, providing top quality childcare also means routine, safety, and warmth.
I want to make sure that I can do the best I can and be a substitution for that mom or that dad for that 8 hours or 9 hours until they're able to get their child back in their arms. I want my kids to feel loved until mommy or daddy come back and saved.
Good job! Come here, baby. Let's see.
Military spouse Tabitha Stafford provides a different care option for families. She runs a small child care business in her home at Fort Belvoir.
Being a family child care provider is amazing. I get to do what I love to do, which is being with children. But I also accommodate a lot for the needs of the children and their ages. So we do different activities according to what the children can do.
How about a little smile?
While the military child care system has largely addressed costs, quality, and workforce pay, it does share one challenge with the civilian world: access.
There are areas where the wait lists are high. We need to take care of that. How are we going to take care of that? Either through new construction, public-private partnerships. That takes money.
Nationally, about 10,000 children of service members are on wait lists for on-base care, and infant care in particular is a big need. Trying to address some of those shortages, the military is launching a new pilot program in 5 regions to help military families pay for care providers in their own home. And new child care centers are now in the works on bases in Hawaii, Alaska, Washington State, and California. Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense Barron says although the system isn't perfect, she believes the investment in America's future is worth it.
I want people to have available, affordable, quality child care, especially our military families, because they deserve it, but as does everyone in the nation. We all deserve it. When you think about children and you think about infants and toddlers, the brain development, if we want a country that's going to be forward-leaning, that's going to have a strong economy, that's going to raise future scientists, and the cure of cancer might be out there, we have to invest in what's good for children at the very beginning of their lives.
For the PBS NewsHour, I'm Cat Wise at Fort Belvoir, Virginia.